Good morning. This is Shri again with an update for the NCAA March Madness. It has been an amazing 4 days of basketball, starting on Thursday and ending late last night with Gonzaga winning over TCU. The opening weekend definitely provided its surprises with a lot of underdogs coming off huge upsets in unexpected fashion. And one thing that is very clear is that there will be no back-to-back national champions, with Kansas losing last night to Arkansas. So the big surprise was obviously FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson University, that upset Purdue Boilermakers, that were winners of the Big Ten championship. And while they fell a little short to Florida Atlantic, they definitely raised a lot of eyebrows in terms of winning against Purdue. The other big surprise was obviously the Ivy League school in Princeton that won 2 back-to-back games to advance to the Sweet 16. They definitely played great basketball throughout the tournament. They became a defensive team against Arizona, holding them to 27 points below average, and Missouri 16 points below average. It'll be a very interesting matchup for Creighton versus Princeton. Again, the other things of surprises were Virginia losing to Furman, but Furman lost immediately right in the second round. So the key here is that the Big Ten took a big beating, I think, even though Michigan State won against Marquette, Big East number 1 team, Marquette. Big East has 3 teams, while Big Ten suffered a lot of losses. Purdue is out, Indiana is out. So I do think that, and ACC, Miami is I think the sole team that is still out there representing the conference. The SEC has been a bit of a good surprise with Arkansas, Alabama still alive as well. So I do think that they are in a good spot. So right now, like I said, the big surprises were Princeton advancing to the Sweet 16, Kansas and Purdue, 2 number 1 seeds, bounced out before they could reach the Sweet 16. And right now the matchup looks like this in the Sweet 16, with UConn, my alma mater, UConn, taking on Arkansas. They are a good team. Arkansas is a good team. So it's going to be very interesting to see, how this will play out. Then UCLA plays Gonzaga. UCLA has proved, they have 2 good, one senior point guard, Campbell, and a senior forward, Jamie Jacquez. So they are definitely reliant on those 2 folks. And then Gonzaga, again, Drew Timme. I mean, he's been unbelievable in terms of, keeping Gonzaga. So Gonzaga is back again in that. In the East Regional, Rick Barnes, Tennessee Volunteers play against FAU. You would think that Tennessee should have a big advantage. Tennessee was impressive against Duke, really took them out of the game, led wire to wire. And then in the other matchup in the East Regional, you have Kansas State versus Michigan State. Definitely Kansas State has, they've been very solid in the Big 12, and they have a great point guard in Marquise Noel. And then the Spartans, they are always there. I mean, Tom Izzo really brings his teams to the big dance. He's got a very impressive record in the big dance. And then in the Midwest, you have the number 1 Houston Cougars versus the ACC, the lone ACC team left, which is Miami. I do think that the Cougars were very impressive against Auburn, outscoring Auburn 50-23 in the second half. They were down 10 points, but again, that's why they are where they are. And the Hurricanes, on the other hand, they're undersized, but they have elite guards. And Isaiah Wong was the leading scorer yesterday against Indiana, really put on a display. And then in the last matchup in the Midwest, you have Texas and Xavier, two solid teams, one from the Big 12, one from the Big East. The Musketeers were impressive yesterday, and then I think Texas has got some good guard play as well. And then they have a lot of players that can score, almost 10 points a game. And I think the Musketeers again, Sean Miller. He's got one win away from returning to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2008. So good matchup there as well. The South Regional, you have Alabama, which is the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They have been excellent, scoring more than 80 points a game. They make a ton of 3 points. They also rank third in the defensive category, and they play against the Aztecs of San Diego State. Again, one of the top defensive teams in the country. They're holding teams to under 65 points a game, and also limiting teams to less than 30% in three-point shooting. So that's going to be a good matchup. And the final matchup, as I mentioned, is Princeton taking Creighton. Creighton, excellent. Their centers were towering yesterday. So I do think that Creighton's 7-foot center, Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think that makes a challenge for Princeton to score. But Princeton has been solid defensively, as I mentioned before, and Ryan Langborg, who just takes like threes. He takes like 6 attempts from 3-point every game. So I do think that they are definitely up for the challenge. So to me, this is what makes March Madness really fun, and it's been impressive. Think about this: 48 teams bounced out in 4 days, right? And that's what is impressive about March Madness. And let's see if the number one seeds continue to improve. Let's see if we have any more surprises in the Elite Eight. So with that, that's a good wrap up for the, I would say, the first weekend for the March Madness. And hope to talk to you after the other 2 games leading up to the Final Four. Thank you again.